crawled out of the ooze. He defied
Grinderman is a side project by Nick Drake and the Bad Seeds, and that's as much information as I'm going to give you about that. If you want to know more about Nick Drake and the Bad Seeds, go and look it up yourself, or find one of my reviews in the future from here where I've done a proper introduction for them. But Grinderman was formed in 2006 as a specific vehicle for more gritty content for Nick Drake and the Bad Seeds. They have created 2 albums so far, and there are rumours of a 3rd in the pipeline. Hi, my name is Dan. So this was the first album by the Grinderman project, and it's my first encounter with this album. So I've said this many times in my videos, but my process usually is to listen once through an album before I do any reading round and finding anything out about it. So this is obviously not hugely a thing when it's something I know quite a lot about, but when I'm coming to things fresh like I am to this album, that gives me a kind of a blind listen, as it were. And then I usually do my reading and finding out some stuff about the project, the act, the album, and then I have another listen, and I usually listen in 2 different circumstances as well, again on purpose, so that I can get different perspectives on the same music. So on my first listen, I didn't know that Grinderman was Nick Drake and the Bad Seeds, and as I was listening to it and thinking through, now how am I going to describe this, which I often do, I was thinking, well, this really sounds quite a lot like Nick Drake. And I was kind of saying, if you like Nick Drake, you're going to like this. Well, of course, it is Nick Drake, so that explains why I thought it sounded like him. So I really don't know him well enough to absolutely identify him at that point, but at least I could hear the similarity. I would describe this as being actually quite heavy rock. There's certainly an edge of blues in here, but it's also quite garagey, so it's got lo-fi recording sound. It's quite raw in its attitude. There's some bits of it are discordant, some bits that have got deliberately out of tune stuff going on. It's most of this I find to be a nice gutsy feel. It's kind of really got a kind of to it. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit too much, and it starts to put me off. So the title track Grinderman, I felt, was a bit like that. It's just not so much. There are some folk instruments in here, but actually it's not really folk. Folk isn't a good word for this. In some ways, maybe it's more, I don't really know exactly what post-rock means, but I know that post-rock often uses melodic instruments that are not generally used in rock, and it feels like heavy post-rock to me, maybe. So Nick Drake, if you know him, or if you don't know him, has got quite a low and menacing voice, which suits what's going on here pretty well. And there are songs about... So this is one of those albums where I don't really want to talk about what the songs are about, not because there's any problem with that, but because it's this kind of album where when you listen to it, the surprises of what there is part of the experience. So I don't even want to foreshadow any of that, but let's just say that there's dark humour all the way through. There's some decent songwriting, as you might expect, because it's Nick Drake. I never knew quite what to expect, what was going to happen in the song, so that was good. And I would say, definitely, I enjoyed it. This is a good album. It was an interesting direction for them to take. Nick Drake is already in my head quite alternative. So this is alternative to alternative. Maybe at times it's a little anti-woman, so it's a little misogynistic. But yeah, just a little bit. Not badly, I would say. So anyway, that's what I think. I liked it. What do you think? Please talk to me through the comments box. Don't be shy. And that's it from me for now.
We've done our thing. We have evolved. We're up on our hind legs. The problem's solved. are artists. We are mathematicians.